So if you're a fat pathetic excuse for a couch potato like I am, you've probably thought of going out with an anime girl before, but you're not too sure about what you want because there seems to be so much to choose from. Well, if so, then this is the guide for you. By the end of this tutorial, you will have graduated to become a fully certified weeaboo that knows what kind of girl is beating his dick to. So you know that girl you see in every high school anime that seems to want to do nothing but step on you, your pride and everything you stand for? Well, if that's your kind of fetish, then a tsundere is what you're looking for. Who the fuck would want that? So, for some reason or another, this type of girl just can't seem to stand your very existence since the first moment you bumped into her. Definitely not your best choice for a blind date. So the word tsundere is made of the two words tsun, which means to be disgusted or feel high and mighty, and dere, which means to love. So essentially, this girl starts off with an extremely nasty attitude but softens up as you get closer to her. Please note that this does not in any way reduce the frequency of beatings you are likely to receive throughout your life. You have been warned. With the evolution of weeaboo culture, tsunderes have been categorized into two groups, namely Type A and Type B. So Type A are the ones who start off sun and end up dere, whereas Type B is the opposite, where they act dere on the outside but become sun as they progress. So if you were to summarize that, then it would basically mean that Type A is the kind of girl you would have to win over as you got closer to her, whereas Type B is for those who feel the need to get beaten up more as their relationship progresses. Okay, so maybe domestic violence isn't exactly your cup of tea. You might be the type of guy who dreams of having that faithful girl who would never leave you, will always believe you and idolize you. Well, then this next trope might just be what you're looking for. What's that you say? Sounds too good to be true, huh? It is. This girl might seem harmless and even adorable at times, but unless you want to spend the rest of your time with a crazed sociopath, we highly recommend keeping off these grounds. Why, you may ask? Well, let's take you through some examples. Imagine your parents don't really approve of your relationship, for obvious reasons. Well, usually she'd try to win them over, right? But in the case of a yandere, how much does a coffin cost these days again? So the word yandere is made of the combination of the word yanderu, which means sick in the head in this situation, and dere, which once again means to love. So in this case, the combination of yanderu and dere would give yandere, which means to kill for love. She protects, she attack, and most importantly, somebody please get help. She's literally outside my door and it's 12 in the morning. Okay, so maybe crazy isn't really what you're looking for. Instead, you might rather prefer someone who doesn't have extremely violent mood swings. You're looking for quiet and calm, and so you'd prefer to go out with one of the silent types. Well, if a cool beauty is what you're looking for, then your best choice is definitely a kudere. Who left the refrigerator open? As cool and beautiful as these girls are, they're not exactly the ideal conversation partner, as they usually tend to show extremely little, if any, emotion about anyone or anything around them. However, within that frozen exterior is the fragile soul of a girl who indeed does care but just doesn't know how to express it. So if you're the type of guy who expects your romantic partner to shower you with words of motivation and acceptance in order to increase your non-existent self-esteem, well, then a kudere is probably the last thing you're looking for. So the word kudere is a combination of the word dere, which needs no further introduction, and the word kuru, which is derived from the English word cool. So basically, a kudere is a person who seems distant and hard to approach, but in reality is just a fragile soul that finds it hard to express their emotions. However, if one does manage to breach the cage this ice queen keeps herself locked in, then one would have a truly loyal and loving partner
who, as a plus, doesn't seem to be after your family.
What's that? You'd prefer to date a more affectionate girl over a bloody refrigerator? Why, you little... Well, if that's your cup of coffee, then let's skip over to speak about one of the types which have been mentioned in basically every trope so far. This kind of girl is adorable and easy to approach from the get-go and is considered the universal symbol of a loving and caring person. Yes indeed, this time on a Weaboos guide to their types, the Dere. The word Dere is a Japanese term which refers to a person who is extremely love-struck. This term is commonly adapted into many other tropes which emphasize a switch in personality or rather a switch in the attitude shown most commonly towards their intended love interest. Characters with a Dere personality usually have a very bright and carefree personality, as every day seems to be another adventure, and they seem to have the uncanny ability to somehow find a silver lining in even the worst of situations. Seeing one of these characters break down is both extremely rare and heartbreaking to see. Girls with this bubbly personality would love to do nothing more than to take care of and look after the person they love. So, if you're looking for a loving wife and a caring mother, then a Dere is exactly what you're looking for.
Though, let's be honest, it's not like any of our sad excuses for a human being could really get a woman pregnant or anything.
I love you so much that I would take a bullet for you.
I'm pregnant.
Congratulations.
Fuck this shit, I'm out. Fuck this shit, I'm out.
Now, I'm sure nobody would dislike to have a Dere for a girlfriend, but considering the kind of trash we are, it would honestly be a waste. Being ordered around by a person higher than us like the slaves we are seems more befitting of our status, and for that we have the Kamidere. Now, I'm sure we all know what narcissism is, and there's a little bit of it in everybody, but the chicks that fall into this category give the word a whole new meaning. It has been scientifically proven that they might even possibly believe that the entire world revolves around them. Like, literally. If they say you're a toad, well then you better be a toad, because nothing you do could convince them otherwise. Another handy feature these creatures come with is their uncanny ability to turn black into white without even batting an eye. And the worst thing is, they honestly believe that to be true, and saying otherwise could possibly get you subjected to eternal damnation for treason against the heavens. So the term Kamidere is formed from, as usual, the Japanese word Dere, which has already been completely explained, and from the Japanese word Kamisama, which translates to God in English. If I have to fucking mention what Dere is just one more time, I swear from God I'll kill. So the people in this category possess an extremely arrogant personality, which is not forced and they themselves are unaware of it. For them, it's only natural that others do their bidding, and having to waste their time with a mere mortal would seem unnecessary. However, these gods seem to make many divine exceptions to their usual rules when they start falling in love with another person. So as stuck up as Kamideres may seem, they actually aren't the worst. Hailing from a similar bloodline, we have another Dere type which has many things in common with the Kamidere, but is still quite different. Everyone, rise from your seats and kneel before your lord, the Himedere. So similar to a Kamidere, a Himedere thinks herself as higher than others and is usually extremely arrogant and spoiled. Surprisingly, they actually aren't the same. See, unlike a Kamidere, a Himedere has more of a reason for their behavior. In the case of a Kamidere, they just don't see other people as on the same level as them. However, they don't bother to go out of their way in order to establish such a fact, and it just happens naturally. However, in the case of a Himedere, they see themselves as a noble existence above others and gain a sense of accomplishment by putting others down. It helps satisfy their inflated ego to have other people treat them as something sacred, whereas a Kamidere would feel nothing from it since it should only be natural that people treat them so. On the other hand, Himederes are extremely conscious about how much attention they are receiving and will flare up if they feel like they aren't getting enough of it. Another defining difference between a Kamidere and a Himedere is the fact that Himederes tend to act extremely spoiled compared to the Kamidere who seems to live in their own world. Keep going, why'd you stop? Oh, the next part is the whole, by the book definition of what a Himedere is. Yeah, so continue. Nope, I am not gonna repeat that whole Dere part again, not happening. Fine. So yeah, moving on. The term Himedere is made up of the words Dere, which means to love, and the Japanese term Hime-sama, which means princess. Basically, Himederes are stuck-up girls who tend to act like spoiled little brats but still have a sweet side in them. Somewhere. I don't know where it is, but they are somewhere. Your job to find it. Another equivalent term for Himedere is Ojo-dere, which is the same, but Ojo part means young lady of usually a noble or rich family. Just consider it like a dialect difference. Well, now that we are almost at the end of our journey, let's move into the final Dere type. We made sure to save the best for the last. If you're wondering why we call this Dere the best, it's because we thought it would be the trope which most of you who are watching would be able to empathize with. Dominating the field of social awkwardness and anxiety since times immemorial, everyone, don't give a round of applause to the king of introverts, the Dere.
Seriously guys, do not applaud, you'll scare her away.
So you know that feeling when you finally have your first crush but you're too scared to even approach her in fear of leaving a bad impression? Well, that's what a Dere goes through every day, and it's not even for someone they like but rather towards everyone. They have low self-confidence and could often be subjected to bullying due to how weak-willed they are. However, once these girls find that special person, then they gradually shed off the done part as they bloom into wonderful Deres. So, Dere is a Japanese term which is from the word Dere, which means to love. To love. I'm feeling a lot of love towards this word right now, And Danmari, which translates to silent. So basically, a Dere is a person who suffers from extreme social anxiety. These type of people tend to find it hard to approach other people and socialize normally. So if you made it this far into the video, congratulations! Not only have you officially crossed the line between an otaku and a weeboo, you've also proven that you've got way too much time in your hands. I mean, it's not like I made this video for you.